Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm driving to Stanley, North Dakota to do a coin shop interview with Skip. Our first two interviews together are linked in the description if you haven't seen those. In today's video, we're going to cover so many topics including gold and silver markets, what's selling in the shop, bartering, viewer Q&A, customer sentiment, and even a cool shop show and tell. We had so much fun talking, I had to split it into two parts. Here we are in Main Street, Stanley, North Dakota, to visit our friend in the Stanley Professional Building, Skip. Skip owns the Prairie Trader Coin Shop, and if you've seen the channel before, you've probably seen a couple interviews we've had with Skip. Well, today we're doing interview number 3, so let's go inside and see how Skip's doing. Well, folks, we made it. We're in Stanley, North Dakota at the Prairie Trader Coin Shop. We're going to go inside today and visit Skip and check in with him to see how things have been. He's expecting us today. There he is. Hey, Skip.
Good morning, Josh.
How are we today?
I'm good. How are
Great.
you?
So how have things been?
Good. Good.
Good.
Life is good, always.
It is.
So.
Absolutely. So the last time we talked was, gosh, when was it? I'd have to look back. It was probably March. Possibly April at the flea market, but I think the last time you were in your shop was
May at the flea market.
Oh, you're right. The shop may have been April.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how's the gold and silver market changed since we talked last?
It has changed a little bit. Silver seems like it has slowed up a little bit. And it's easy to get now through the pipelines. There's a lot of availability. Gold has been good, not spectacular necessarily, but pretty good. It stays pretty steady, and I think a lot of people have figured out that there's a reason why sovereign governments and the big banks and whatever store gold in their vaults. It's just a safety thing, and I think a lot of individuals are figuring the same thing out, so they're trying to buy a little gold to have as their own reserve, so to speak. So it only makes sense if you look at it that way.
Absolutely, I agree entirely. So what type of gold are you selling most typically? Larger pieces or fractional or coin?
We don't get a lot of the older coin in. I happen to have some right now, but a lot of times we do not. People like them really well, and they go fairly quickly when they do come in. But we have 1 ounce gold coins have sold pretty well. That obviously makes up the most volume just because of their size and so on. But
any particular one? American, Canadian?
Canadian maple leaf is real popular. People are very comfortable with the Canadian coin, and it's a little cheaper than, say, the eagle. So for that reason, and some people like the 9999 versus the 999. It's a tiny difference,
right?
But that's the nice thing about it. There's a little something for everybody.
Right.
So,
makes them feel good.
Yeah, and we're selling some fractionals, some 10th ounce and some 1/4 ounce stuff. People just wanting to have some smaller pieces along with the bigger stuff they've got.
Right.
So to make change, so to speak, or just to have smaller pieces, and for whatever reason.
In case they need to liquidate, I suppose.
Yeah,
they don't have to sell the whole
you just never
ounce.
know, Yeah. You get in a situation with your neighbor and he wants to trade you a gun or whatever, and he wants gold. Why, you can figure it out. If you got enough odd pieces, you can figure out the right price instead of somebody getting took on the deal.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are your customers saying? Obviously, last time we were in the shop, I think there were people that were, I think you used the word concerned about banks. This was around the time the banks were starting to fail. It was kind of the crazy month of March. For those that are coming in now, is there any discussion about that, about distrust in their financial institutions, or is it just kind of, I'm just stacking for the future?
I think it's eased off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still there, and it was there a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, there's a basic level of not being comfortable necessarily with our system, our banking system. And that could be a holdover from what your grandfather told you from the Depression, you know, and all the banks that went broke. And,
Right.
and if you collect old banknotes, you can get an endless variety of banknotes of banks that went broke. Now, we have systems in place, etc., but they still depend on the government. They depend on politics, etc. So there's still a certain level in there where people think, you know, I should have some money that has nothing to do with that system. And that's where gold comes in.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring up government involvement in banking, because I've heard this comment actually from my father, and people ask him when they're in the coin shop, you know, should I buy gold or silver? And my dad just looks at him and says, I'll put it this way. If you trust your government, you don't need to buy gold or silver. If you don't trust your government, you probably should. So I think a lot of people are maybe in that boat. Maybe trust is the wrong word, but having blind faith in the government, I think most don't in today's day. And
Right.
that's been good for this type of business. So
Yes,
but,
it has been.
yeah.
It has been.
Well, I noticed you brought some things out. I can see the tray right over there. Do you want to do a show and tell and show the viewers? People are
kind of what I brought it for.
okay. Well, let's take a look. I'll be panning back and forth between you and the tray here.
Some interesting things sometimes will come into the store, and I think I would like to start with this.
Okay. So what
And
do you
this
got
is
there?
a 1944 French 10 franc note.
Okay.
So, but on the back of it, if you can zoom in on that
Oh, yeah.
a little bit, you can see lots of notations, names, towns, different things that are on there.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably one of the most interesting things that's come into my shop this year,
Okay.
as far as my personal idea. Okay, so there's a date on here. It's dated 1944. Omaha Beach is written on here. One of the other landing zones is on here. There's an LST 256, which is a large landing craft on there. But a lot of the notations on here have a name or a little number, like an A26 or something, and then have a little single wing behind it, drawn behind it. That's a glider unit.
Okay.
So in Devonshire, we spent some time researching this when we got this.
Okay.
It came to me just raw, and so we had to research. So Devonshire is a town in England that raised 4 regiments during World War II. 3 regiments were basically home guard, and then 1 regiment was a glider unit, okay? So you can make a lot of assumptions, you don't know for sure, but everything that's on here, all the different little notations, names, dates, and all of that, points to glider units that came in for D-Day 1944, and I think that is just a treasure.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's absolutely amazing.
I just love it. So anyway, that's little things like that just get me just super excited. It was fun researching it, and I'm still kind of looking some of the things up. Some of the glider, these are either glider units or glider numbers. That's C26 and A. There's a number of those on there. So it's a very, very, very fun piece.
That is amazing.
Okay.
Not something you'll probably ever see again.
No, it's very unique. It's a one of a kind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whatever. Some of the other things that we'll just kind of go through this as we go, if we can if you tolerate me a little bit. So I've got 3 of these laid out, and this is back in the day. Actually, Mexican silver pesos were preferred over U.S. silver dollars at one time in the world in the 1800s. They were very popular. Mexico still does a lot of silver and had a lot of silver coins, but the Mexican coins were all over the world, used for trade and whatever. So I have 3 pieces here that are all just beautifully, brightly blue toned. I don't know how well that shows up, but I just think those are great. Those actually are not for sale.
Those are going in the private stack?
Those come out of the private stack just
Okay.
to
Yeah, those are really nice. I've seen a lot of 8 reals. There's a lot of different types. There's a lot of things to know about them.
Beautiful coins.
Those are amazing condition-wise. Those didn't circulate a whole lot.
No,
And,
these are
yeah,
fantastic.
those are pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Cool piece.
yeah, they're very cool. Here's another thing everybody's probably a little bit familiar with, but Engelhard silver bars. This is another kind of a personal favorite. I like Engelhard stuff. It's just things you get in your head. But so I just thought I'd show that to everybody, and anybody that feels like they'd like to sell me an Engelhard, I'm an easy touch. So
I know that. I've sold you many over the years.
yes, and I still probably have most of them. So with any luck at all, right?
Yeah.
So then we kind of move on a little bit, and up here, and I've just brought out some Carson City silver dollars. Those are always popular. 89 is a kind of a tougher year. 93 Carson City are kind of tougher years. And sometimes people ask and they say, well, where do you find the Carson City? And it's on the back side, right down at the bottom, at about the 6 o'clock position. If you look in there, you'll find it, okay? And that's the same thing for any of the other ones. When we get over here, we have a 93.0. And I kind of brought this out. This is a beautiful specimen of an 1893.0. That's a tough date. It's not, it looks uncirculated, but it is not, okay? It's so close, it's not even funny, but it's a very nice coin. We assume it's at an AU 58. And then that's a New Orleans, and again, the O is on the back side around 6 o'clock, O for New Orleans, okay? And you could have an S there, or no mint mark means Philadelphia, for those of you that are kind of new to this. And then here we have just an 1885.0, just a really nice looking coin. And you can see sometimes when you pick them up and you kind of rotate them a little bit and the light shines off on them in certain ways. They're just kind of fun. They're fascinating. They're beautiful coins.
Yeah, definitely a favorite of many are the Morgan silver dollars.
So, I just pulled out some random things, just odd. So here we have a Zippo lighter token from 1945. Just another good little piece of history. And the Zippo lighters, for anybody that's ever been in the military, well, way back when, Zippo lighter was a must. That was just something you had to have. And then here, just something interesting. So a Minot bus token.
It made its way to Stanley.
Made its way to Stanley, yep. And I probably bought it who knows where, in Fargo or someplace.
I remember those type of city bus tokens from when I was a kid.
Yep. You're getting old.
I am.
So then another thing I thought we could visit about just a little bit, maybe just a little short history. Originally, and people ask about slabbed coins and should you slab coins? And so we'll go back up and we'll take a look at this 93.0 again. Now we could send this in and we could get it into like an NGC holder like this, right? And it come back a grade, but it's going to come back as an AU 58. I've had multiple dealers look at this coin. I've looked at it. It's an AU 58, period. I mean, there's never going to be any argument about that. We could send it in and pay the cost to do that, but what is the point?
Yeah. What do you gain? You don't
gain anything
Right.
by doing that.
Yep.
And we see a lot of coins that get slabbed up or sent in to get graded and so on that really don't need to be sent in. I mean, it has to be somewhat of a special circumstance in my mind before you send a coin in to be graded, Just, that's my thinking on it. So, and then so to go back, originally coins were, they came in a piece of plastic similar to this with photographs of the coin and then a grading system on their front and back. And then the photograph verified that was the right coin that was in there, right? So then they went to these sealed, from that then they went to these sealed ones. And here's some older PCGS ones that we call the old green label ones. And here's an older one here. This is an ANAX one, ANAX, ICG, another ANAX, and then here's a newer PCGS, and then underneath we have NGC, okay? And they're just, the ones that people like the best seem to be NGC and PCGS. ANAX, which is our own association, it runs third and always has for some reason. But there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, they get out there aggressively coming out. ICG is another one that you see from time to time. And again, anytime something ends up in a holder, you got to always remember that between buyer and seller, it's still your opinion in that holder, the quality of the coin, because there's different levels of, say, an extra fine coin. It could be a 40, it could be a 45, it could be a really nice 45. And so it's still the eye of the beholder on coins so much. It's helpful sometimes to have them in a slab, but it's not necessarily the best answer or the final answer, shall we say. Okay, so and then this kind of brings up this again, some of my personal favorites and things, which I like old green label PCGS holders. And then here's some nice examples here of San Diego, and then here's a MS63, a 1916.
Wow.
Buffalo nickel, and it's just a nice coin. I like really super pristine Buffalo nickels, and I like commemoratives. I think that's something I share with your dad. He likes commemoratives, and I don't know if you should show him this one or not.
He's gonna want it.
He doesn't have that one. He may not have that one.
It's already been filmed. He's gonna see it.
No. Okay. So there's some that have been slabbed up. Some beautiful examples. I mean, you get into this one with the bridge. Can you get at the detail of that on the back?
Yeah. Just trying to bring it into focus. There we go. Yeah. A lot of detail.
Oh, just beautiful. So the commemoratives were started with the 1892-93 Columbian Exposition in that time frame. So they've made 1/4, $1, and the rest have all been $half, okay? So the $half, we have older commemoratives, and then we have modern commemoratives, which would be like, this is an example of a modern commemorative mint set, okay, or proof set, whatever. And these are all the older ones, okay? And they made these up through 53, I think is the last one, isn't it? But here's some raw ones down here, and you can see it's kind of a fun thing to collect. Cleveland, Lexington and Concord, Oregon Trail, Rhode Island, Daniel Boone, Iowa, City of Hudson, New York, Arkansas. So they made them for a lot of different projects. You know, the Stone Mountain, do we have a Stone Mountain? Is this? No, we do not have.
Yeah, right.
We do have, there we go. So Stone Mountain, this is a good example where they issued the commemoratives and the proceeds were used to help pay for the Stone Mountain Memorial.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing about classic commemoratives that a lot of people don't realize, and I just filmed them so people see them in the video, but mintages on a lot of them are so incredibly low.
It's stupid.
They're stupid low, yeah.
3,156.
I mean, you think about that.
I've lost more coins than that.
Yeah, it really is incredible. And I think you and I both, and a lot of other people are starting to realize that I think they're truly undervalued because of the low mintage. It's just for whatever reason, they haven't become collectible to the masses.
Right. So in the 1980s, early 80s, commemoratives were very, very hot and prices skyrocketed. And it collapsed after that and turned around. Then they've languished and languished and languished. And there's been a lot of commemoratives being able to buy and pick up some beautiful commemorative coins, really reasonable. They've come up a little bit, but they're certainly not in boom territory. Anyway. like you said, I think you're right. They're a niche that more people, I would like it if more people discovered it, because it's really cool. It's everything. It's history. It's silver. It's some. If you're from Arkansas, you got to have an Arkansas. If you're from, the whole 9 yards. Who as a kid didn't? Well, maybe not you guys. You guys are younger, but the people my age who didn't watch Daniel Boone on TV.
Right. There's only 5,005.
Right.
That were made of this particular coin.
Yeah, the 1935 San Francisco Mint one.
Yeah, and the art and the intricacies on a lot of these are just beautiful.
Yeah.
They don't typically have a large, bust picture or head picture like a Morgan or a Franklin half. I mean, there's usually, smaller imagery, and they're truly, trually incredible.
Yeah,
and you have some really nice examples here.
Look at the Oregon Trail. If you can lay it out there, maybe see if you can get focused in on that.
Yeah. And see, my generation, Oregon Trail, that was a game we played on computer in grade school.
Oh, gosh.
Oregon Trail.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a really nice one.
Yeah. And so with the Oregon Trail ones, they actually made these, for almost 10 years. Was it 8 years or something like that? The time that the Oregon Trail was being heavily used. So the commemorative come in, was it 100 years later? Is that what they were
Probably,
celebrating?
that timing seems right.
But yeah. So anyway, they made them kind of for the length of time that the Oregon Trail was really bustling. And so it all kind of ties together. It's fun. It's fun stuff. So that's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. These are things, folks, you're not going to see every day.
No.
Next time you're in your own local coin shop, ask to see their classic commemoratives. And I'm guessing a lot of shops won't have the quality that you're seeing in front of you right now.
This is a tip of the iceberg, by the way.
Well, there's a teaser for next time.
If we laid out all the commemoratives, there would be quite a bunch. So.
Oh, there would be, yeah.
It's we talked about in one of the earlier videos that I like pennies, right? So I'm kind of the penny guy, but we all have little niches we follow, and I follow the commemoratives. I like the commemoratives. It's just something that interests me, and so I keep an inventory. And when I go to shows, it pays because people come look. Oh, you've got a bunch of commemoratives, and yeah, okay. So it's fun.